All right, folks. I am on my way back from Rexburg, Idaho to Jackson, Wyoming, and this is part of Teton Pass. It's through the Targhee National Forest, and since this pass is so beautiful, I wanted to make sure you guys got a chance to see it. Now, I also wanted to apologize to all the folks on my channel because I haven't posted squat in like a year. So just to catch you guys up on what happened while I've been away, I crashed my Prius, the one that you've seen in all the previous videos, into the side of a mountain up in Alaska on a chunk of road that goes into Skagway, and that chunk of road is called the White Pass. It had real similar weather to this, but the road hadn't been plowed anywhere near as well. And it was raining, and the ground was frozen, and I didn't have chains, and yeah, so I slid on a wet patch of road. Sorry about that, folks. And lost control of the car, like you do. There you go. Try and get you a little better view there. And anyway, hit a guardrail on the left, kind of like this guardrail on this left here, and it bounced me across the road, and I put the front end of the car into the side of the mountain. Now the upshot is I'm fine, my cat's fine. The downside is the Prius you've seen in all the other videos is totaled. So what I'm driving right now, and what I anticipate doing all my van life in, is a 2012 Toyota Sienna minivan. She handles great in the ice and snow, which is fantastic. Her gas mileage is pretty good. Well, it tells me I do need to get gas, so hopefully I see a gas station soon. Oh yeah, there will be one in Victor, and there will be one in Jackson. I'll be there before I run out of gas. So I do have some videos coming up on how I'm doing the van build in the minivan. So there will be van life content. But yeah, in the meantime, I just wanted to show you guys, it's so pretty out here. I mean, if you ever get a chance to just come hang out in Jackson, Wyoming, I do recommend it. Well, I don't recommend Jackson, Wyoming. I recommend any of the little towns around it. You know, Victor, Driggs, Swan Valley, where I just was. The land is a lot flatter in like Rexburg and Idaho Falls. But when you get to any of the little communities here in the Grand Tetons, in Targhee National Forest, in the Bridger Teton National Forest, any of those areas are going to look like what you're seeing on the camera right now. We got this big heavy snowfall about a week ago, and they've had time to plow the roads, and we've had good sunny days like this one that help melt the snow off of the roads. So the roads are really dry right now, but we've got, you can see, just piles of snow. And the piles of snow get bigger as we go higher up this side of the pass. So we're on the upslope right now. We're going over Teton Pass is the name of where we are. I've never done it from Swan Valley before. I usually peel off at Victor and head north. Love those shelves. Look at that. They're higher than my car. Yeah, so you can tell that a plow came through here and made this possible. But there is a stunning view coming up that I want you guys to see because it is so pretty. And since we're in the middle of midday, you're going to get to see it in all of its glory. And so I wanted to make sure to bring you guys along on the drive. So yeah, to catch you up on what's going on in my life, I accepted a job in Jackson, Wyoming, driving their city transit because they get so many skiers. There's 3 major ski resorts around here. They have extra buses that run in the winter season to make sure all the skiers get to the ski resorts. And so they hire seasonal bus drivers to make sure all of their ski people get to the resorts they're trying to get to. So that's what I've been doing this winter. But I do have an assignment coming up in Fairbanks, Alaska. I'm going to be driving a tour bus up there for yet another tour bus company. And that'll be basically central-ish Alaska. For those of you who are not super great on Alaska geography, there's this little tail that comes off the east side. That's the inland sea of the southeast. That's where Juneau and Ketchikan and a bunch of other places are, Skagway. But when you head over toward the middle of the state, there's Anchorage and Fairbanks and Prudhoe Bay in approximately the middle of the state. Anchorage, well, Seward is right on the north part of the Pacific. Then you go straight up from there, you get to Anchorage first, you go straight up 6 more hours, you end up in Fairbanks. You go straight up another, let's call it 10, I haven't Google mapped this, you end up in Prudhoe Bay. So that's how you deal with like the middle of the state of Alaska. So that's what we're gonna go check out. Callie's gonna be with me, and a friend of ours is gonna be joining us, so we're gonna have company up there, so that'll be nice. More on that later, because yeah, there's more on that. So that's going to be a fun adventure. We're going to be driving big buses up there, and the big bus company that I'll be working for up there, they drive military around, they drive school groups around, they do multi-day tours throughout inland Alaska. I'm honestly not sure which of all of those different jobs I'll be doing, but it'll be one of those. Climbing. Byway information ahead. Okay. Yeah, I'm not likely to stop and get information. That would require me stopping and getting information. I don't feel like it. Entering Teton County, and I think this is Teton County, Idaho. We're not in Wyoming yet. Entering Teton Soil Conservation. One thing I love about this area, and let me say for the record, I will never live in Jackson, Wyoming again. But this whole area is like southern Yellowstone area, and it is gorgeous out here. I might live in a lot of different little places around here, but it will not be Jackson, for reasons, and we'll get into those later, maybe, if I feel like it. But I have seen lots of moose, herds of elk, pronghorn sheep, or pronghorn deer, I think they're deer, bighorn sheep, mule deer, fox, coyote, eagle, raven, magpie. Just huge amounts of wildlife. Like in town, in Jackson, there's a mama moose and a baby moose that just hang out in town. They were snoozing in a field, snoozing in a city park the other day, like they were just resting in a field, and the whole thing's got 3 feet of snow in it, but that barely even comes up to half a moose, half a laying down moose. Moose are huge. And so we get to see those two. We also saw another solitary moose hanging out at the bus stop one day. We have a major transit hub in the center of town at a place called Miller Park, and there was a big old moose all by himself just hanging out at Miller Park. There's constantly mule deer walking down the sidewalk in town. And so just the diversity of wildlife out here. It's also a really big dog-friendly town, so there's all kinds of dogs if you like dogs. Dogs. So many dogs. Ooh, we're coming out into a flat space that I was not expecting. Oh, we're leaving Targhee National Forest. Targhee National Forest. But that's fine. You still have to get over that mountain range, I'm pretty sure. So maybe the pretty view I mean to show you is on the other side of the mountain range. We'll see. Like I said, I haven't come up from Swan Valley before, so this is new. Yeah, I think I need to get over that set of mountains on the left. Or right. Got my left and right confused. Alright, I'm going to pause you for a minute. Yeah, now that I've made that curve, this is going to take us straight over to that set of mountains ahead of us. And I'm fairly confident that where you see that first little low bit on the right of the road, to the right of the road, that's where the pass is. That's where Teton Pass is. I'm not sure why they called that Teton Pass and not what we're doing. I don't know. I'm new here, so... But, yeah. I am going to make sure you guys see the pretty drive. I'm going to pause it, though, while we're here at the boring drive, because nobody wants to watch the boring part. So you can see signs that say Wyoming 22, Teton Pass, no trailers. When the chain laws are in effect, it'll also say chain laws in effect. When they close the pass, it'll say the pass is closed. So they do help you out that way. We are now going on the right road. I didn't realize I hadn't made it onto 33 yet. So again, this part's pretty boring. When we get back up into the pretty parts, I'll bring you back in. So we're entering back into the Targhee National Forest. So yeah, apparently it's separated by the valley where Victor, Idaho is. Or Victor's in Idaho. Because these communities all interact with each other so often, it's a challenge for me to remember which ones are in Idaho and which ones are in Wyoming. And all over you'll see these like lit up moose signs, or you'll see outlines of moose. They really want you to be mindful of the fact that there are moose all over around here, because this is their home and they just let us live here. And by that I mean moose are not afraid of your car. They're also taller than your car. They're also, you know, heavy. And be bear aware. I haven't seen any bear yet out here. Just moose. So yeah, there was a bit of educational pamphlet that I read here in town, and they were mentioning that the pronghorn, they'll stop at a fence. Pronghorn have not figured out fence yet. Deer will jump over the fence if they can, or they'll try to get around the fence. Elk, on the other hand, they're like, aw, that's cute, and then they bound right over them. Elk can jump a 6-foot fence. Moose, on the other hand, just blithely step over it. They are that tall. Moose don't care about your 6-foot fence. They don't care about your car. So you do have to be mindful of where they are. And the big problem when you're driving, for those of you who don't know, your headlights don't reach their eyes because their eyes are so far off the ground. So you're not going to see the reflection of their eyes. Now, their eyes may also be structured such that that they don't reflect. But absolutely part of why you never see them reflect is because your headlights don't go up that far. So you're going to know that you're about to encounter a moose when you can see its, you know, dark brown knees against the blackness of the road you're driving through. Now, on a bus, it's a little bit different. When I'm driving big motor coach buses, their heads are at eye level with the bus driver. So that's a little disconcerting, finding a wild animal, or seeing an animal out in the wild that's standing on the ground on its own 2 legs is, look at that, steep mountain pass ahead, 10% grades, is at eye level with you while you're driving the bus. So you imagine if you ever see a full adult male with the whole rack, that rack's going through the bus windshield, and that just doesn't sound like a good time. So they don't plow between 9 p.m. and 5 a.m., so occasionally the pass will shut down. Our bus drivers won't be able to get in. We've got some commuter drivers who they start out with a bus in, let's say, Driggs, Idaho, and They come in as a commuter for their bus drop by driving a bus from Driggs, Idaho, picking all the people up in Driggs who want to work in Jackson and driving them over this pass. So if this pass closes in the morning, none of those commuters can get to work, and neither can our bus driver. So that we have that in two different places, but it's the ones who live on the other side of the pass here that get really messed over by it. It works out in the long run. There is a way for them to get around that doesn't involve going over the pass, so some of them, knowing that, will abandon their bus on the far side of the pass, take their personal vehicle, and drive the 2 hours around to come in and work their work day in Jackson, and then drive themselves back home at night. Because it is possible to get a car around in ways that it's not possible to get a 40,000-pound bus around. So that's another thing. But we are now on the right part of the road for you guys to see the really pretty, stunning view. And we've got blue skies today. We haven't seen blue skies out here in weeks because it's been snowing so much. But since we had really good weather today, I wanted to bring you guys along on this part of the trip. And yes, I know I'm rambling, but I'm also trying to stay awake enough to make it home. Because it's been an early morning. I did have to get some work done. I'm not sure if it'll show in the video, but my windshield is cracked in 6 different places from the cold temperatures out here. It had one tiny little crack, and the cold just split it the rest of the way. So on Wednesday, I am getting the windshield replaced. But today, the whole reason I was in Rexburg was getting the Toyota dealership to look over the car. I've only owned it since November. I did have a mechanic look at it before I bought it. And that mechanic said everything looked fine except for the radiator and the battery. He said, well, your radiator's about to go, and I have to admit, when I looked at it, I'm like, yeah, I don't see what you're seeing, but okay. And he said, and your battery's over 5 years old, so you should replace that. And I'm like, well, thank you, I'll take all that under advisement, which I did. When I got out here to Wyoming, I bought the car in Ohio. When I got out here to Wyoming, I'm like, well, we'll see what happens with the battery. And the battery's been starting the car reliably, which is really all I need a car battery to do. It's a little sluggish right around -7 degrees. It has a little bit of a hard time, but you got to kind of expect that. As far as the radiator, when the Toyota dealership looked at it, they're like, your radiator's fine. I'm like, yeah, that's kind of what I thought. So it's nothing to worry about. I don't know what that dealer was trying to get, and not dealer, what that mechanic was trying to achieve. But anyway, every now and then, Toyotas will flash you a warning sign that says routine maintenance required. And so mine was flashing the routine warning thing. I also had a flat tire light, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure that flat tire light is just letting me know that my tire pressure sensors have gone out. And so the dealership was able to confirm that, yeah, I have one sensor that works and one sensor that's completely broken, and 2 of them that are on the fritz. I'm like, yeah, that's kind of what I expected. I wasn't too worried about that. The routine maintenance light, because I got it looked at, they were able to turn the routine maintenance light off. I am going to be looking to get another key fob and key, so they were able to give me a price quote for that. Much better than the last one. The fob for the Prius was $500. The fob and key combined for the Sienna is only $200. Oh, Nelly. No, you can go slower than that. Thank you. Lost my drink. Alright. Yeah. I mean, yeah, the car probably could have handled it at 55, but I wasn't liking it. Alright, I believe that pretty view is going to be coming up here. We've got this big old curve we've got to go around here. But I mean, look at how stunning this is. All these pine trees and these giant snowbanks that we're driving through. Stunning. Yep, we're gonna get sunlight right in the face. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, I guess we're still climbing. The pretty view is once we stop climbing. Let's see, what else did they tell me while I had her there in the dealership? They rotated the tires. My tread looks good on all my tires. They did a whole 23-point inspection. Everything came back fine. They said that 10,000 miles from now, I'll want to have the differential. That's a guess. I think it was the differential looked at. And I'm like, good, 10,000 miles from now will be after I drive up to Fairbanks and back. So, next year, I'll have the differential looked at. But they said it's nothing to worry about right now. It's just, put it on the back burner. So, yeah, the car's tight, and I'm good with it, But I am going to be doing the build out, so there will be more videos coming up on the channel showing you what bed I went with, what storage options I went with. I'm a big fan of doing the no build where I can just buy stuff, stick it in my car and go, look, I made a thing. If I owned power tools, probably I would actually build a platform and drawers and whatever, but I don't own any tools. So I've already purchased the bed and the mattress. Those are going to go in next. I'm in the middle of making the window shades, so I'll do a video that shows how those happen. Yes, they're Reflectix and cloth. I do want to put a shade curtain in here, and since I'm in here looking at it, I can do the exact same curtain rod in here that I did in the Prius. So I'll need to go buy the metal rod to do that. Oh, we got skiers. So we're now at the top of the mountain, and look at this view coming up. Oh, I love that. So yeah, the skiers all hang out up here. That's what that parking lot's for. And I think the view that I like is right around the next curve. But you can just see how the whole valley opens up in front of you. And with those mountains as backdrop and all of those trees. This is just stunning. It's a little wetter today than on the way back than it was on the way up. Because all the snow melt. And I love how deep the snow is along here. I'm jealous of our commuter drivers who get to see this snow every day. 10% grade along here, so that's what our buses get to contend with. Just look at how beautiful this part of the country is. And I love that break as you come over the rise and the whole valley opens up and you get to see what that looks like with those mountains as a backdrop. Yeah, it is possible, maybe, that if I were to find a nice little community out here, a nice medium-sized community out here, with a good river running through it or a nice lake to back up onto, with these pine-covered mountains out here and all of this snow, I could see myself living amidst all of this. Not in Jackson. there might be other communities out here I would consider. And I don't know why all of you choose to travel on the road, but part of why I choose to travel is to see if there's a part of America, a part of this country, that I would like to live in, because it's never been Ohio, and I've lived like 30 years in Ohio, and I've hated it the whole time. I can appreciate it a little better now because I'm older and I have other things to compare it to, but appreciating a place and loving a place are not the same thing at all. Now, I really enjoyed Boston when I lived out there, but again, there are issues that I don't want to deal with in Boston. I will say this much for Ohio. One thing I like about it, if you fill out your forms in triplicate and pay your fees, you can get just about anything accomplished out there. That is not how Boston works. Boston's all about who are you related to, who do you know, who do you have an established relationship with. Because if you want to get your car worked on, a shed built on your property, you want to buy a new home, you really got to know somebody. That whole town runs on nepotism, and I hate that. Now, it's not much better here in Jackson Hole. Jackson Hole, it's whose palm did you grease out here? You know, how much money and reputation are you willing to stake on the thing you're trying to accomplish? I like the bureaucracy of Ohio better. I just want to go somewhere where I can fill out my forms, pay my fee, and get on with my life. So, but Ohio has that going for it. Alright. Cable system. We have just about made it back down the mountain. So I won't keep you guys any longer, but I wanted you to see, you know, just the stunning views out here, especially along Teton Pass. So yeah, thank you guys for your endless amounts of patience. There will be more content coming up this year. And I will see you all in the next video.